What does the Bush administration and Sayreville High School football team have in common? Apparently, they both like to waterboard people. Yes, the small Philadelphia football team has had their season canceled, and seven of its members could face criminal charges over possible waterboarding of other players and forcing them to perform lewd acts as part of their hazing initiation rituals. Now, according to Superintendent David Weitzel, rookies were allegedly forced to touch other players' genitals with their heads covered in towels. Okay. They were also apparently allegedly led into showers into what players considered a form of waterboarding. Now, local police department chief James Donnelly doesn't think the shower incidents were necessarily waterboarding, and that the players certainly hadn't committed a crime, but nonetheless, Donnelly and the local police department are reopening the investigation into some of these incidences. Superintendent David Weitzel told the Intelligencer, quote, preseason hazing is a long-standing tradition at the school. Yeah, great tradition. But, quote, appropriate team-building activities cannot be permitted to spiral out of control and to become hazing. Well, good job, I think. But hey, the team did do something about it during their first investigation. 5 coaches of the varsity and junior varsity teams were suspended for failing to properly monitor the team. Well, we weren't watching you good enough, and obviously you're going to do what you're going to do. So, that's our fault. We didn't watch you, so we got suspended. Well, we're back on the job now. Great job. Now, what do you guys think about this whole thing and the general idea of, or general problem and issue of hazing in high school and in college sports?
As someone who walks into a room feeling that, the tide is against me, I take this actually very personal. I don't like online hazing or teasing, anything like that. I try not to do it myself. When I catch myself, I'm my biggest critic. But I was looking down in the comment section of this. I find it sad that everybody's all butthurt that the season's been canceled. That's where the anger is. The anger is not at the hazing. The anger is not at what these kids have been doing. The anger is that the season's been canceled. And again, that actually goes back to our previous story of the dumbing down of society and why I think Haven was being way too generous with their time frame.
I think, first of all, who the fuck taught these kids how to waterboard? Where did that come from? What happened to wedgies and swirlies? Because maybe this is me feeling like an old fart. Secondly, Tom, you're right. It is interesting that the anger is at the season being taken away. But then again, I'm not surprised because when football players rape girls, people get mad at the girls. So if they can do that, they're going to get pissed off at this too. I don't know why. I'm not really a big football fan, but people in this country love football. It's almost a fucking religion, especially in the South. And it's like, this doesn't, there's merit to playing a sport. There's merit to learning teamwork and all that good stuff. But it's just amazing that we don't want to teach our kids that. Like, we don't want to teach our kids what it's like to have sportsmanship and integrity. Like, those words don't even compute anymore. And we're helping to promote these kids to go out there and just play ball and not give a shit about anything else. And that harms them in the long run. A lot of these kids want to go pro. A lot of these kids want to go and do things where this type of behavior is not going to benefit them. In all actuality, it might lose their job. And they're not going to, nobody's going to force them to focus on education to protect themselves from that. And to protect themselves from the God knows how many fucking concussions they're going to have to deal with later in life. So it's like, I guess the overall theme for the past couple of stories is that we are fucking over our kids in so many inventive ways that it's just mind-boggling that we let this happen. Like, these kids need to be disciplined. They need to learn that doing this douchebaggery stuff will not be tolerated.